Every day, you wake up as your own boss, making your own way. Every day, you continue your journey to change the world, your team, and yourself. Every day, you encourage, congratulate, celebrate, and reach toward your goal of being the best and providing the best. The Build Your Best Business Show is for you. The real stories of building a business from other owners and founders along the journey. Find the support and advice you need to successfully start, grow, manage, and exit your business. What are you going to do today to build your best business?
Welcome to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. I'm talking about the entrepreneurial journey. What does it take to successfully start, grow, manage, and eventually exit a business? Today we're going to talk about something that a lot of companies or individuals haven't really considered, which is the creation of a physical product. And not only a physical product, but one that you put in your body, which has a completely different set of rules and regulations around it. We're coming to you from Dig South in Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm talking with Keith Best. He is the president and COO of Sunshine Beverages. And Sunshine Beverages have been all over the conference. They've been everywhere for people to sample and start to experience. So Keith, tell us a little bit about the product itself, and then we'll get into why the heck you decided to get in this space.
Sunshine, we call it good energy.
Okay.
And so basically, we have 8.4 ounces of good energy, and so inside each can, we've got vitamins, electrolytes, a little bit of caffeine, and then we've got 3 flavors that, of course, we're biased, but we think they taste delicious. And we've been hearing some pretty good feedback here at Dig South. But so we're a good energy beverage, better for you ingredients, help you get through your afternoon, help get your day started, that type of thing.
And I had the orange, is it mandarin?
Clementine twist. Yeah.
Okay, and then there's a ginger.
There's a ginger berry.
And then the third.
And blueberry lemonade.
Blueberry lemonade.
Just in time for summer.
Just in time for summer. All right. So why this? Like, why was this what you decided that you wanted to?
So you want the real story?
Well, I hope you give me the real story.
Okay. So the real story is I've owned an ad agency for 17 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And inside the ad agency, about 5-6 years ago, my business partner and I decided to create a startup studio inside the agency.
Okay.
So a lot of times, you just said it, we do services and we try to invent technologies and those types of things. And just the ability to kind of turn yourself into a client and create a product that you could physically hold, that you could see on shelves, was always a dream.
Yeah.
And so we've tried a few different things. I mean, you described how hard it is to get technology off the ground or start something that is a little bit nebulous and then the long haul to kind of bridge success. Sunshine was one of those that we decided we were going to do, and it was great to be able to finally, after plenty of years of doing things that other people would, be able to say, this is my product, this is my advertising campaign, this is my service. We could say this is ours. And when it was on a shelf, my kids would jump up and down and say, oh, look at that. We're 300 miles from home and we happen to see this thing that we created.
Yeah, that is really cool. So I put a book out in 2013, and I would be traveling the country as part of the tour and go into a store and see it, like go into a bookstore and it would be on the shelf. And that's kind of cool, right? It's like,
it is still, till this day, I still get a little jazzed about that.
Yeah. So, but energy drinks and that category, and deciding, like, did somebody bring this to you and say there was a gap in the category, or?
Yeah, we, as we were doing some research in the beverage space, we were approaching, we were doing some consulting work with a large beverage company.
Okay.
And during that project, long term, it was about a 6-month assignment, we started to see kind of the backlash that was always kind of there with sugary soda. And we started to observe the world kind of, if you're really trying to solve problems, most of the time that an insight's going to come from something you observe.
Right.
And so we saw a lot of the extreme energy category kind of going off one end of the spectrum and more or less becoming a very homogenized set of products that appealed to a certain set of consumers. And again, you said the word gap. We saw a gap being created, which was an opportunity to create maybe a milder version of an energy drink, but make it taste great, and then add some functional benefits that are maybe alternatives to for folks that maybe don't drink coffee or don't drink teas. They aren't going to drink sodas any longer, or full power sodas, because of the sugar content.
Yeah.
And so that's where the gap that we saw starting to be created, and we invented the brand Sunshine.
And so talking about the steps, you'd already been working with beverage companies, so did that make it easier, or did you get into it and go, oh my gosh, there's like all this stuff we have to
I would
do?
say out of the gates, you're inventing something, you're excited about it, and all we wanted to do was get that can in our hands and say, that's success. We made something that I can hold up to my mom and say, hey, you don't have to guess at what I really do for a career anymore. Look at this, it's in a can.
Okay, I need to do that. Because everybody's like, I have no idea what you do.
I mean, it all comes back to what you're telling your mom at the end of the day, right?
It's more my daughter at this point. She's like, Dad, I don't know what to tell my parents what to do. She was applying for colleges, and she had to tell them what I did for a living.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know. And then it was like, what does your mom do for a living? Works for my dad.
That's a good circle,
right
there, right?
It's like, I have no idea.
We don't really know. So Sunshine, we were going down the path of just doing some research. We identified the gap, and then we had tried a few different things in our startup studio. And this one, we just sat back and said, okay, let's if we could invent a product, what would that product be from a functional viewpoint? How would it taste? What would be the things we would want in a beverage for ourselves? If we're not happy with what's out there, what would we want?
Right.
And so we just kind of put that into what I would say is much like a design thinking process, and we ended up in a place with, I wish this was on the market.
Right.
And so we outlined a lot of functional attributes about being hydrated without a lot of liquid ounces. Be nice to be able to put some vitamins in your body. And then it always came back to we need to make sure it tastes great.
Yeah.
And so that's how it began. And at that point, you start going, okay, we're creators. We're inventing something. I've never done a drink recipe before.
Right.
So you start doing a lot of who do you know, and you start making a lot of the reach outs. The Google exists for a reason, and you start to then kind of pare down a list of people that you might want to work with. And so fortunately, we were connected with someone that was really wise around recipes and formulations, and took our ideas and has really been a part of the team from day one to help make sure that what we're after from a functional viewpoint is delivered, and then that we are always after something that tastes great.
Yeah.
And so she's been a part of the team all the way through and kind of helped us overcome an area we didn't have any experience in.
And the concept of having the startup studio that you had, that's a nice model, because you got to see lots of things that worked and didn't work, and you've been working with clients, so it helps you to be a little, it's an education
Right.
in what to do and not to do.
Right. Yeah, we inside the agency, we call it building the muscle, building the startup muscle. And 9 out of 10 times, at least in our experience, has been those muscles don't necessarily end in a successful place. They,
Right.
You take a lot of swings at things, but as you go through that process, you get better at knowing when to kill an idea or when to keep pushing on an idea.
Well, yeah, and interestingly, for the startup journey, it's a marathon. So, and you get started on it, and you got to have enough fortitude to get to the end.
Right.
And it's hard to know that you've got that as you go through. Like, do I have everything I need to make it? So it's an interesting thing. That the overnight success doesn't work. So how long from the decision that you're going to do this to the point that you had something on the shelf did you?
So it was in the summer of 2013 that we decided this was something coming out of the startup studio that really had legs, and we were going to push it forward. And at that point, we started running parallel paths to develop the brand, and then also develop the product. And then on October 15th, 2013, the first cans hit a shelf in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
All right.
And we were so happy. We had I think our first production was 24,000 cans, so 1,000 cases, and we were in 6 retail stores.
Wow.
And we were great. We were pleased with that.
Yeah. So I've talked with others who manufacture food products or things that go into a grocery store or retail location, and they talk about 2 challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 3, but the first is getting a product right, actually getting one manufactured and being able to physically hold it. The next is getting a store to be willing to carry it.
Right.
Because, shelf space is money and all those kind of things, and I've heard lots of different tactics to get that store to originally kind of take the product for the first time.
Right.
Then you got to get it off the shelf.
Right.
So you got it on the shelf, now how do you get it back off the shelf? So talk to me like, about the process of getting it on the shelf originally? How did you get those retail
That
locations?
was aside from, we knew that we needed some help getting the product developed, and that's where it was an easy, hey, we're going to go get somebody that really does this day in and day out. The thing that we didn't know when we started a beverage company was how hard what you just described really is.
Yeah.
Getting retail authorizations is really hard. Connecting and having distributor relationships to make sure it can be delivered to retail is a lot harder than we thought it would be.
And
then,
so, but unpack that, because you can say the word hard, right? But is it because, you have to it's a law, there's it's a good old boy network, like what is the thing that makes it hard?
I would say that it's got a lot of big players that are already established. So whether it's a soda or if it's an alcoholic brand, those types of things, there's a lot of big brands in the market.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the distributors and the retailers are really looking to make sure that consumers are able to buy the brands that they're familiar with. So a new brand being introduced into a really crowded space, energy as a category inside beverage is growing.
Right.
But it's dominated by two brands primarily. And so when you put someone like that, well-heeled, dominating the category kind of in your crosshairs and say, we're going to compete with them, that's a hard story to tell a distributor or even a retail buyer, a category buyer, because they've never heard of you. And so those challenges were very real in the sense of it's an education. Like this is the gap we see in the marketplace. These are why we're drawing consumers to the brand, because they are really looking for this. We had a lot of consumer trend data that was telling this story for us, and we were really delivering on something that we knew would sell. So when you talk about the challenges of getting those meetings, they take a long time to get. Oftentimes reviews at the retailer level are annual, so it's not like I've got it on October 15th and I can go put it on 1,000 shelves on November 1st. It's right. Those are the things that we've learned. Yeah, there's kind of a cadence to how a retailer will put things on the shelf, and then the final step of getting it to move off the shelves, so that you start to build a story with the retailer that, hey, we're a great product, we're drawing in a good consumer, they're spending money in your store, they're buying our product frequently. That's the fortunate thing has been, if we get it in the right places and we make people aware of Sunshine and then they taste it, there's a lot of repeat purchases that happen after that.
Okay, so we're gonna go to a commercial break, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about that brand activation. So the techniques and tactics that you took, because there's lots of different ways I've heard of people doing that, right?
Okay.
So we've interviewed the Kind Bar guy, he had one way. There's some people who've gotten into Whole Foods, they had another. So what does that look like? How's that worked? Some challenges that you've run along the way that maybe if somebody else said, hey, I want to build a product like this, that you would say, do this, don't do that, those types of things. So you're listening to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. We're talking with Keith Best. He's the president and COO of Sunshine Beverages. We'll be back in just a minute. Congratulations, you're your own boss. Now comes the hard part. It's not just about starting a business, it's about successfully managing and growing that business to an eventual exit. And along that entrepreneurial journey, you're going to run into questions and problems that you need quick answers to. Things like, do you need a business plan? How do you read a balance sheet? How do you talk to an investor? When do you bring on a founder? Or what if you're having problems with your partner? These are the types of things that you run into as you're trying to grow that business to the next level, and they may not be the things you want to share in public with other people. They're the problems and issues that arise that, as I have experienced along my own entrepreneurial journey, that I needed to have someone I could trust to reach out to and have a conversation and get a different perspective. And it was often those short conversations that would be the thing that moved me from where I was to where I needed to be. It's for that reason I created the On-Demand CXO product offering. On-Demand CXO is something that you can use to have a conversation with a trusted advisor about what's going on in your business. We do a 1-hour phone call to talk about your business, talk about your objectives, and understand what it's going to take to move you from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow.
From there, you have ongoing access to a Slack channel to ask me questions in private about what's going on in your business so that I can provide some advice or connections to my network to individuals who can help you solve against that problem. You will also have access to my Facebook page, which is full of other entrepreneurs who are along the same journey, to have more broad conversations, things that you trust and would talk about in a networking event. But when you need to go and have that conversation with a trusted advisor, you will have the ability to have a conversation with me in a place that's safe, completely anonymous, and unbiased. I want to see you succeed and build your very best business.
Are you looking to grow your business? Maybe you know exactly who you need to get in contact with, you're just not sure how to go about it. Podcasting is your answer, and at Briller Media, we make you the expert. We have state-of-the-art equipment to record your audio and video podcast. Plus, we take care of everything on the back end. We schedule your guests, upload your podcast to the top podcasting platforms, and we push out your show on social media, promoting you, your business, and your guest's business. How could they ignore your pitch after that? Briller Media, we make you look brilliant.
Sometimes, life gives you crazy ideas. Chase them.
And we're back. You're listening to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. We focus on the entrepreneurial journey. What does it take to start, grow, manage, and exit a business? And if you've done a technology product, you have no idea what that may take. Because building physical product and building physical product that then is consumed by someone can be an incredibly interesting journey. I've had several of those kind of conversations. And maybe I've talked about restaurants before, and that's one that I know I wouldn't get into. I know that I probably wouldn't get into physical product consumable because there's just so many things you have to learn. Keith Best is president and COO of Sunshine Beverages, and their products have been all over the Dig South conference that we're here at in Charleston. Concept of brand activation, so getting people to try for the first time so that they'd eventually buy it. And we sort of left off in that last segment of getting it into the retail locations. So you get it to the retailer, it's on the shelf, that retailer wants that product to move. And I know you come from an agency marketing background, so you probably had a little bit of an advantage, but I'm curious about what you did to get people to try for the first time, and because once you get them to try it, then the assumption is they'll come back and rebuy it.
Right. The having an advertising background was, I think, an advantage in one way. We absolutely had no money to spend on advertising.
Okay.
And so we had to use our brains instead of our bank accounts to try to get people to be aware of Sunshine and then to try it. Those are the two linchpins for a beverage brand. If you've got a good product, you have to make people know it exists and then let them try it. And so the challenges of going out of the gates against some pretty well-heeled well-heeled brands and manufacturers out there, we started to try to create new ways that people could engage with Sunshine. Of course, we would, flank that. We decided that we were going to really focus in on the town that we started in, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That we were going to sample. If anybody wanted to drink it, we would hand them a can, and we would make sure they knew where to buy it to support the retailer relationships. But we knew that we needed to appeal to a larger consumer population in other geographies.
Right.
And so one of our solves for that was what we called the world's first drinkable greeting card. And on our website, you could go and order for $5. You could send a friend, a family member, yourself if you wanted to, a can of Sunshine with a custom message. And so that we were trying to encourage people to share a Sunshine.
Oh, nice.
And so basically with a name like Sunshine, a day is always better with Sunshine.
Right.
And so the idea was, instead of just running down to the card store and picking up something that you didn't have a lot of control over and it might hit the trash, that someone could, same kind of ideas, go get a send a greeting card, but do so with a can of sunshine and a customized message.
Very nice.
So that was in essence, it's a way to get another story out in the market other than just we have a new product, and then encourage people to share those. And then again, that's a little bit of a sampling program at the end of the day.
Well, that's a nice ancillary channel, right? So
Right.
something that somebody's doing anyway. So how do you kind of put yourself into that, right?
Right.
We talked with the guy Kind that did the Kind bars,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And his story about giving free samples. He said like when his budget was like $800 or something, and he moved it up to $800,000, and now his company, they give away millions of dollars of product
Right.
every year because he's like, I got to get people to try it. He also has like a ton of SKUs.
Right.
So, but getting people to really try it, and then they look for it. Like the next time they go in, they're okay, I really like that, and I would think
Right.
there's such an important part of it.
It's one of the things that we're doing actually this summer. One of the reasons we're here at Dig South is that we're really focusing in on the Carolina coasts. And so all the way from the Outer Banks of North Carolina down to the southern parts of South Carolina, with kind of the Wilmington market and the Charleston market being an emphasis for us. Dig South's a little bit of our debut in South Carolina.
Okay.
And we have shown up with about a pallet of product and are ready to hand it all out.
Yeah.
And we've been handing out coupons for people to get free cases shipped to them wherever they go back home to after they leave Charleston. And so this afternoon we're going to make sure that as many people are wanting to leave with a case of sunshine, we're going to hand it to them for free.
Yeah, so that leads into my conversation about future. So future for you is you're looking at sort of the coast, the East Coast, from somewhere to somewhere. Where does that look like for
So
you?
we live into it every day. We started up in Winston-Salem. We've been focusing on winning in our backyard. That's the triad of North Carolina. We've started to then grow kind of organically through the triangle, so the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area, into the Charlotte markets, and really tried to make sure that we stayed focused on winning in our backyard. So our backyard is North Carolina.
Okay.
And now that as the brand's gotten to be a little bit well known and we've started to expand our retailer relationships, we add South Carolina to that mix. We start to think about Georgia and Atlanta. We want to win in the South now.
Yeah.
And so we're coming up on our 4th year, and we've done a pretty good job of growing inside North Carolina. It's now time to kind of bring it to the contiguous states to us and really try to be a brand that is known as being out of the South. We all know that, well, not a lot of the best tasting things on earth, food and beverage, come out of the South.
I agree.
And so we want to celebrate the South. If I could look into a crystal ball and say, what does Sunshine's success look like? If we're ever known as a beloved brand of the South, I'm going to feel really good about that.
That's awesome. So, talking about things that you wish you'd known, things that what are some lessons along the way? And I am curious too, if it's easier to go into new states having a reputation. Like, the retailers, are they easier, or is it just as hard from state to state?
I would say, depending on, I'd say they're pretty similar.
So,
Now, there are certain, depending on who the retailer is and where they're headquartered and those types of things, some might have an affinity for a company out of North Carolina, whereas more of a national retailer, they might care about that in North Carolina, South Carolina, and into Georgia. But as they think about maybe putting it on a national set of shelves, those stories maybe fall down a little bit. So you just got to have a great product and a great brand at the end of the day.
yeah.
So focusing, I think you mentioned one of the, what have we learned? What was one of the lessons? So we were so happy to have a product that was in our hands and could be put on a shelf, that if early on, if someone said they wanted it and they would sell it, we'd send it to them. And so we found Sunshine kind of spread across into northern Virginia, DC area, as far west as Oklahoma and Montana, pushing into the south with Alabama and Louisiana, into Florida a little bit, and found out really quickly that that's real hard as a brand with no marketing dollars to build awareness across that big geographic footprint. So real quickly, learned a lesson the hard way, that it's not going to sell unless we were marketing it. we constrained all our efforts back to North Carolina at that
So
point.
you would see that it would go to those retail locations, but that it might not leave the shelf.
It would sell in some pockets, and then others it might not move much.
Yeah.
And in order to be successful, you need to have We've talked about the velocity of retail.
Yeah.
It needs to be moving off the shelves,
Yeah.
especially when you're competing with the big brands.
Yeah.
A little upstart brand needs to sell more,
Right.
in essence.
So how does the team look for this? Is it something that, meaning just growing the team? Do you have to have lots of people supporting it from a staff perspective? Is it something manufacturing outsourced so that makes it easier? Like, how does this feel?
Yeah, we've really focused our efforts on building a great brand and marketing it, and so the team that's done that has been a natural extension of our agency. And now the two companies are really becoming more autonomous of one another. Sunshine is now got a dedicated staff. I'm starting to evolve to where my role at Sunshine is going to be dedicated, and so really creating two different companies with very similar but different cultures.
Yeah.
And so as we went out of the gates, it was a lot of friends and family helping us build the brand, going to events, handing out cans, getting people to be aware of it, and then even doing the B2B sales where we're calling on accounts. It would be 2 or 3 people that were plugged in from the get-go.
Yeah.
And as we've grown and it's become more of a serious business for us this year especially, we've started to add to the team. And so we've got a blend of leadership, national director of sales, and then we're building out our field teams so that as we go into a market, they see that we're committed to the market. So Charleston will see our folks in and out of here a lot, trying to build relationships, not just saying we want to be on shelves, but we want to be in the community. We want to kind of be a bright light. That's what our brand says. So the team is growing, and it's been a blend of kind of top-level sales on the B2B and distributor side, and then at the street level where you're just trying to hand the cans to consumers and get them to taste it. So it's a blend of kind of way up in the clouds and then feet on the street.
What's interesting about what you've done, and I know you had an agency prior, but you'll see companies trying to break into a market, and so let's say you want to be a technology company, you build a piece of technology, so you at least have the experience when you're working with someone else, right? So it gives you experience having done your own thing. So it's an interesting thing too, because as you guys may or may not be part of your strategy, but this would make you very appealing to someone from an agency perspective because you've already been through this whole process. So you sort of see where the stumbling blocks are and what you need to do next. I was part of a group that was similar in the 90s when we were doing .coms. We would build our own and then showed that, hey, we knew how to do it for ourselves, so we could do it for you.
Yeah, I as the agency kind of rode along beside Sunshine, we found that we were a better agency because when a client of the agency is sitting at the table with us talking about marketing and advertising and those types of things and complaining about the challenges of logistics or the challenges of distribution or the importance of point of sale systems on a shelf.
Yeah.
And rather than just kind of shaking my head and doing the agency guy thing like, oh yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
By going through those exact same challenges with Sunshine, we really know what they're talking about.
And the strongest human emotion is empathy.
Right.
And you can be sympathetic all day, but if you've I've been there, man, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we can really talk about that. And then in fact, instead of the agency really bringing only advertising ideas back to the clients, we bring oftentimes, I know this might sound a little goofy, but supply chain suggestions, product innovation, and it's all derived from a brand strategy. So it still has, you're always razor sharp on what you're trying to deliver on in the end.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we've been doing with Sunshine is we've learned the business over the last 2 to 3 years in the past, but we knew we had an aspiration around what the brand meant and what the product needed to be. And so I felt like that's the one thing we've stayed true to. And then as we've built the business out, we're now seeing that kind of the lift where I've got a lot of data at retail that says it is selling. I've got a lot of data that says our consumer is a great consumer on a lot of fronts. and they're looking at ingredient panels, and they're starting to want things that are better for their bodies and still taste great. So it's not when nobody wants to compromise. And so I think we're kind of in that evolution of where everybody's headed on the consumer side.
Well, very nice. Well, thank you so much for telling your story, and it's been great
Thanks
you
for
supplying
having
us with drinks the last couple of days here at Dick's Out. My team is nodding their heads.
I really appreciate you asking me to come talk.
Yeah, no, good. It was great. We've been talking with Keith Best. He's the president and COO of Sunshine Beverages. Look for it in your local retailer. And thank you for listening to Build Your Best Business. Until next time, what are you going to do to build your very best business?
Every day, you wake up as your own boss, making your own way. Every day, you continue your journey to change the world, your team, and yourself. Every day, you encourage, congratulate, celebrate, and reach toward your goal of being the best and providing the best. The Build Your Best Business Show is for you. The real stories of building a business from other owners and founders along the journey. Find the support and advice you need to successfully start, grow, manage, and exit your business. What are you going to do today to build your best business?